life in general. And so
yeah,
if there's anything that's kind of quasi unique about me as an individual, maybe that would be it. The fact that I have that holistic approach in the way I live my life and the way I perceive of this world.
So you're practicing Tai Chi, you're practicing martial arts for quite some time. And for how long are you practicing martial arts? And what actually made you get into this to get closer to this field?
43 years.
How many?
43.
43, wow. I feel very small right now.
I've been practicing Tai Chi for 35.
Amazing.
So like I tell people here in this retirement community where I live, they'll see me doing my Tai Chi and oftentimes they're very complimentary, and I'll go, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a master. I don't do that stuff, but I can tell you this. I know I have trained with great teachers for a long time and that I practice very hard. Now, whether that makes me any good or not, I don't know. Martial arts, I've got several teaching certifications and black belts, as you call those, that sort of thing, in different Chinese styles. I have black belts in Northern Shaolin kickboxing, Wing Chun Kung Fu. I have teacher certifications, which are equivalent to black belts and beyond in Chinese boxing, self-defense, Tai Chi Chuan, and Bagua Chang, which you've probably never heard of.
I better behave of what I'm saying from now on,
Bagua Chang is based on the I Ching.
Yes.
And it's based on its core of the art is from the great Daoist practice of circle walking.
Right, yes.
It's addictive. Actually, without boring you, there are 3 so-called internal styles of martial arts. Most people consider 3. And the typical Westerner has never heard of but one, and that's Tai Chi. There are 2 others. Tai Chi is the one that is the most well-known worldwide, but the 2 others are Bagua Chang, which is one I'm certified to teach.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's like a primordial dance to the heavens. It's very beautiful. It takes a little more athleticism than a person doing Tai Chi in general.
My Neigong teacher actually teaches that as well, and I was looking into getting into this as well, but I took a step back because of the COVID situation. The travel is not really that flexible anymore, but I find that to be fascinating.
Yeah, and I tell you start talking about, and then I'll tell you the third one is called Xing Yi Chuan. And Xing Yi Chuan is based on the 5 elements and ties in Chinese medicine. And I've done some Xing Yi Chuan, but I have teaching certifications in Bagua Chang and in Tai Chi Chuan. Not that many people want to learn Bagua Chang, but when they try it, they love it. They fall in love with it. Circle walking is an incredible method of meditation. It's meditation and more. Just like Zhang training, which you and I have talked about, I believe, standing stillness posture is meditation and more.
Yes, obviously. And stillness comes from movement, isn't it?
Well, the more part is tying in your experience with yoga. I've been doing yoga in my warm-ups also, and tying in your experience to yoga. The common thread there is that in the meditation and the standing stillness posture, yes, I use it as my form of meditation. I call it convening with Baba. But the difference in the way I do it in a person who says, well, I sit down and pray, or I lay on my bed and pray, or I get on my knees and pray, whatever. Well, you got to remember, when you're doing stillness posture, you're expected to be in a perfect posture. So I think it's, there's an old Southern saying in the United States, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not that I'd want to kill a bird, but I'm saying you're taking, that's the way I look at my standing stillness posture training, Mira, is I'm doing something that's very healthy for the body as far as chi development, just like yoga, for example, because of the perfect posture and getting the heavenly circle of the chi flow again, because most people have lost that. But I'm also at the same time convening with Mayor Baba and chanting Baba's name and working on my self spiritually to try to get this drunken monkey mind under control, which is a key goal for all of us, I believe. So I use now, the average Chinese person, they may not do that, or the average Tai Chi person that has learned Zhanjiang, unless they tend to be a very spiritually oriented person, maybe that light bulb hasn't gone on for them. But for me, I'm like, wow, this is like, I'm doing standing stillness posture for 30 minutes. Last year I was doing it for an hour a day. I think I told you that.
Like the Wuji one, right?
I backed off on that to 30 minutes just because I'm doing so many other things in my workout. And usually 20 minutes is excellent. 30 minutes is very good. And so what I do is 30 minutes, 6 days a week. I usually give myself Sundays off, period. That's my rest day. If I do anything, it's a bonus. Like last Sunday, I spent 6 hours recording my new composition, which you, I think, heard. I was like a mad scientist. but anyway, it's called Zhanjiang. The standing stillness posture for me is an opportunity for me to meditate and pray to God at the same time. And how can anything be any better than that? It feeds everything in my life. It feeds my Tai Chi and my music and me as a human being. I've told people for years, I've got enough self-defense techniques from martial arts to last me several lifetimes. I'm not worried about that right now. Right now, I'm more into the spiritual development and the health and getting better and better and better and closer to God.
So basically, you're saying that you're trying to adopt a very healthy lifestyle, right? And you are cultivating the chi through physical exercise, right? This is basically what we're doing through Tai Chi, isn't it? You are mentioning the standing meditation, which is the Wuji, right? The Wuji posture.
Yes, that is Wuji. Right. And I can tell you a little bit about that if you'd like to know.
Yes, of course.
And this is where the classics of Wuji ties in very much with what Mayor Baba says about creation. Well, Wuji, if you think of Wuji, first, the classics say that Wuji is nothing more than an empty circle.
Yeah.
And then there's a whim somewhere. I'll use that term. There's a desire, a whim, a dream. And then yin and yang are manifested.
Right, yes.
And so that's why every Tai Chi form starts the same way. You start off in Wuji. Wuji, the classics say that Wuji becomes Tai Chi.
Yes.
Tai Chi comes out of Wuji.
Yes.
And so as we practice Tai Chi, we're constantly trying to, the most important feature my teacher in China says, Chin-Chia Wang says about Tai Chi, and this is what's so beautiful to me when you apply this to your entire life, spirituality, health, so many facets of our life. The most important feature of Tai Chi is one word: balance.
Exactly.
Balance. Yes, it improves your physical balance tremendously. I mean, there's nothing like the balance you get physically after you train in Tai Chi if you have a good teacher for years. I do things now that I couldn't do at 20 years old, balance-wise. It amazes myself, and it's just because I've done it that long, But it improves your physical balance. It's about physical balance, emotional balance, mental balance, and even spiritual balance. That's the great gift of Tai Chi. So when you're doing Tai Chi, you apply the principles from Tai Chi, which has much influence from Daoism, Lao Tzu. You apply those principles not only to the form itself, but to your life. The white is the yang, and the black fish is the yin. And we learn that, for example, that we can never go to too much of an extreme in one particular direction. And that's why the white fish has a black dot in it, and the black fish has the white dot in it.
Yes.
This is used a lot in Tai Chi. And there's actually a lot of misinformation by, pardon my way of using this term, by New Age people.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a good term anymore, but it
It's
was
perfect.
okay. There is a misconception, a downright myth with people, New Age people, that take Tai Chi with a poor teacher, and they'll see me do Tai Chi and they'll go, that looks hard, that looks yang. And any good Tai Chi master will tell you, Tai Chi is a balance of yin and yang.
Yes.
So if you see somebody doing Tai Chi and they're just like this, you know, that they're faking it. They think they're doing Tai Chi, because Tai Chi, then watch my hands, should be like this.
It's about flowing with the movement. It's not something mechanic that you actually do, because you're basically cultivating the
classics say the outside is soft. This is soft. The inside, soft like cotton. The inside is like steel. So there's a constant exchange when you're doing a Tai Chi form, and that ties into music, the changeability of music. And the word change is very important in Tai Chi and Bagua Chang, going back to the I Ching. And it's also very, very necessary, inherent attribute that has to be there for a musician, a good musician. You have to be changeable. And so when one is performing Tai Chi, soft at moments becomes hard at moments. It's subtle, and hard becomes soft. There's a balance of the two. Yes. Does it look softer than karate or, you know, kung fu movies and whatever? Of course it does. But it's a total absolute myth that there's no yang or no hard in Tai Chi. That totally defeats the whole idea of yin and yang.
Because sorry to interrupt you, but the idea is to reach that state of the primordial state, right? Which is Wuji, which is the circle, just for everyone to understand.
Yes.
And pretty much all the spiritual traditions somehow talk about the same thing, right? It's just that they talk about the same thing, but in a very different manner, in a very different language. So in order to reach stillness, you need to return to the original state, right? Which is Wuji, the circle, right?
Right.
And then we have Tai Chi emerging from stillness. So we have movement emerging from stillness, right? Which gives life to yin and yang, basically. So just for everyone to understand this basically, just want to share with you. I think I can share my screen just a second, because probably many wouldn't understand what we're talking about. So you know how I am, I like to show a little bit of visual for them to understand. So can you see this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this is what you were talking about here. You were talking about Tai Chi emerging from the primordial state of stillness, which obviously gets split into yin and yang, gets split into the feminine force and the masculine force, which we need to work with whilst we're doing martial arts and cultivating balance, basically, right?
Correct.
So because Daoism obviously talks about the three great powers, which are heaven, earth, and man, right?
Okay.
Then we have heaven.
Time out for just a second, Mira.
Yeah.
You are distorting, and I feel like if I get my AirPods, I'm having to work really hard, because you're speaking clearly, and then all of a sudden it distorts, and it's not you, it's this Mac. Let me get my AirPods. Hang on. I'm gonna try to do this without losing you. Okay. I'm gonna go to my system preferences because I use this with my Apple Watch and I use it with my iPad, etc. I have Apple everything.
Okay.
And I use it with my computer less. I'm going to my Bluetooth and making sure my Bluetooth knows, okay, here we go.
You seem to know more about technology than me.
Let's see if it'll connect. Okay, try it again. All right, let me try it one more time. Because there you go.
I hope it's better now.
It will be in just a second. Aha. Yep. All right. Now, continue.
Well, patience is divine, isn't it?
Wait a minute. I'm still, it's saying you're connected and I'm still not hearing it. Okay. Hang on.
Can you hear me now?
You're still, okay. Let me try this. Now, see if I can hear you.
No
Say
problems. No problems. Take your time.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. Okay. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. You see what it is because the
Superb.
AirPods use them with several devices. They get confused sometimes, and the computer gets. I've noticed this. I use it the least with my Mac, and you have to go in and delete any other past times that it was there, and like you're starting all over again. And I had to. I forgot about one other thing. If you have AirPod Pros,
No.
I had to get this. I had to get this, and you push a little button, and the two communicate, and immediately it worked. So now I can hear you, your beautiful voice. Okay.
Amazing.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just trying to show a visual of what you were just saying earlier, because basically this is what people try to reach. They try to reach through martial arts and many other practices, right? They try to return back to this Wuji state, which is stillness, which is the primordial state. And then we were discussing obviously about the Taichi, which is, we can all see it's a spiral. Is the Kundala. It's a movement which springs straight from the Wuji. And, you know, then obviously, this shows up in Genesis, for example, as well, in Hindu philosophy, in Sufi tradition as well. It's all about movement emerging from stillness, and in order to reach the state of stillness, right, we can reach it through movement back.
Yes, yeah, it's funny. We're on the same wavelength. I was just about to assert here or insert that, you know, when we're doing our goal, when we're doing Tai Chi, is to have stillness and movement.
Yes.
It's the same thing in Bhagavad Chanting, stillness and movement.
Yes.
Your body is actually moving, but you still have stillness. You maintain that original Wuji feeling.
Absolutely.
While you're doing your Tai Chi. And that is, and you relate to that. You're shaking your head probably in yoga or whatever else, but
yes,
that is the key. That is absolutely the key.
You know, I call this the stillness, which is the eye in the middle of the hurricane, right? So
yes.
It's movement, is the circling movement. We can see this kundala, this coil movement everywhere. And if you're looking at the Sufi tradition, you know, with their dance, when they're spinning and spinning and spinning for hours, sometimes that is a meditation. They're reaching a state of stillness by doing
absolutely.
That.
And
yeah.
did you know that, by the way, Meher Baba had a very strong connection to the Sufi group?
Yes.
That he actually met with them, and there's a Sufi group that, for lack of a better term, endorsed and followed. They endorsed and then they followed and said, "This is the avatar of the age." It's called Sufism Revisited or something. I forget the term because I've never looked into it that much because I'm not, I don't come from that background. But I was just reading more in my daily reading on Baba the other day. It was talking about how from the very beginning he made a connection because a lot of his references to spiritual terms, et cetera, are Sufi, Hindu, and there was one other. So pardon me for not remembering what the other. Maybe it was Vedanic is Hindu, and maybe it was Vedanic. But Sufi, that caught my ear again because there's.
You're probably talking about Advaita Vedanta, right? Which is non-dualism.
Yes. Yeah. So the Sufis, they think Meher Baba is okay. In other words, they recognize him. Of course, you know, Meher Baba said it doesn't matter if you believe or not. What you believe is not matter. It doesn't matter. He's you know that Baba's interpreter that was with him, Erich, one of his mandalis, another term for disciple, was with him for many years, and he interpreted Baba because you know Baba held silence for 44 years, and that's one of the mysteries of Meher Baba is the silence and a breaking of the silence, not the silence itself, but the breaking of the silence. But anyway, Erich was his interpreter. Baba used the alphabet board from 1925 until 1954, and then so he finally said enough
for that period of time.
Oh no, he didn't speak for he didn't speak even when he dropped his body. 44 years, and yet no one had any trouble communicating with him at all. He used the alphabet board, and then in 1954 he said enough of the alphabet board, and Erich was his translator, and he would move his fingers, which were very artistic and very beautiful, like a musician's, and Erich could translate totally what Baba was saying in the discourses and meetings with people, etc. But when Baba dropped his body, Erich for many years had said to Baba, and this is one of the key themes of anyone who's ever been around Meher Baba or has ever read Meher Baba, who's ever been in contact with someone who has, which I'll be glad to share with you, but Baba was just pure love personified. And Erich for years would just say to Meher Baba, he would say, "Well, Baba, I don't know that I believe you're God." And Baba would smile and go, "Don't worry, I will help you. Don't worry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you don't believe I'm God. Just love me. Just love me, love other people, serve other people. It doesn't matter." And so the story goes that the day that Meher Baba dropped his body, Erich ran out into the Indian sky that night and looked up at all the stars, and he was weeping like a child. And he said, "Oh my God, I've been with God all these years and I did not know it."
Wow. Amazing. And so you're talking about, you know, you recommended me a book, which I read. It's amazing. It's called God Speaks.
Well, I'll tell you what, I bow to you. And I'll tell you what, I could not get through it the first several years that I tried. And you and I read it again about the same period of time. And I just, I've been on a real, I don't know, it's like Bob is calling me for some reason, but I've really been on a disciplined path lately with my spirituality. And I get up every morning and I read Baba. And so I said, I'm going to read God speak. I'm going to get through. I'd never totally gotten through the end. The reason why is Baba said in the beginning, he said, this is all intellect. Your intellect wants this. You want me to feed it to you? Here it is. It's all left brain intellect. But I guarantee you, as you notice, you're shaking your head. He doesn't leave any stone unturned. If people can read God speak and not realize that that man was Jesus Christ come again, I'm not sure how intelligent they are. You think he made all that up?
You know what was amazing, Joe Rea, about it? Because when I read it, I had like an epiphany. It was not difficult for me to understand. It was just something that I would recognize straight away. It's just the message is so powerful, even though, you know, it is a difficult book. For some might be a difficult book, but when I read the book, for me it was complete. I completely
confirming what you already
everything.
knew in your intuition, right? Confirming what
It
you
was
already knew in your intuition.
what I already knew. I don't know. It's just, it sounds strange, but it was like that for me. And
you know what? That's God in you telling you that.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Let me just show you, because I have something else ready here. Just because I
okay.
Just bear with me 1 second. Obviously, I will post this video, so I wanted people to can you see this? I wanted people to see Meher Baba.
Oh yes, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. And we obviously we're talking about Christ consciousness quite a lot lately, and we're talking about Christ, and you were mentioning that Christ had 8 avatars.
Christ, you say that again? You
were mentioning that Christ had 8 avatars.
I don't remember me saying that, because it's totally foreign to me. 8 avatars. What do you mean?
Well, I think there was a post on Facebook.
Oh! Yeah, you're talking about the number of avatars that have appeared. Like Meher Baba says, I come to you as Ram, I come to you as Zoroaster, I come to you as Buddha, I come to you as Krishna, I come to you as Jesus, I come to you as Muhammad, and now I come to you as Meher Baba. And I think I switched Buddha and Krishna, then Buddha. Then I come to you as Jesus, then I come to you as Muhammad, and now I come to you, I am the Ancient One.
And Meher Baba is basically the last avatar that was here on Earth, right? Yes,
and one of the truths that I tried to express to you and to a few people, because I don't. Baba lovers do not, and that's what they're called, by the way, Baba lovers. I'm honored to be called that. Baba lovers don't proselytize Baba. They refuse to do that. We don't go out and try to sell the world on Baba, because Meher Baba's, one of Meher Baba's famous quotes is, "Don't do that. It is not necessary. My work will be done even if there's no one there to do it." So you don't have to go out and sell people. But a point that I was trying to say to you that Meher Baba has said, and his disciples have all confirmed this as well, as far as I know. When the avatar is on the earth, comes down into Maya in the dream, takes on the form of a body, that's called a manifestation. And Baba tells people they can follow whatever religion, as long as you're not doing satanic worship or something, as long as your religion is tied to one of those avatars. Baba said, there's no problem staying what you already are. But I will read to you. I wanted to have this ready for you, because this is one of my favorite books. And I don't know if you can ever find it. This book is, see it?
Wow. It's an old book, isn't it?
It's a tiny little book, and I've had it for many years, and it is only Baba's words. And it has the master's prayer, and just it's just like Baba sitting here talking. Let me read to you what Baba says about
Yes, please.
religion. Reach beyond religion. Give up all forms of parrotry. Start practicing whatever you truly feel to be true and justly to be just. Do not make a show of your faith and belief. You have not to give up your religion, but give up clinging to the husk of mere ritual and ceremony. To get to the fundamental core of truth underlying all religions, reach beyond religion. I am the light of the universe. One day, as soon as you get a glimpse of my reality, you will come to know me. Very rarely one can see me as I really am. You are seeing, you see everything false except me. It is the curtain that surrounds my reality. Even the highest type of inner experience falls short of my real state. For when God manifests on earth in the form of man and reveals his divinity to mankind, he is recognized as the avatar, the Messiah, the prophet.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. That's what Baba says about religion. And so, and you know, he tells his followers, we don't try to go out and twist people's arms and sell them, because, you know, people, and I think I might have said this to you early, and because you and I had some nice chats on Messenger, but Baba says, and I'm happy for you because you're an aspirant. Baba says, Mira, just hearing the name Mayor Baba has a profound impact on your spiritual journey right now. People don't know. Just hearing his name, whether you believe it or not, Baba said that's how powerful the name of the avatar, back to our point, during the avatar's manifestation. We are very much still in the manifestation of Mayor Baba's Christhood. The manifestation starts, it's 100 years from the time that avatar drops the body, is the manifestation. We are still very much in the manifestation of Avatar Mayor Baba.
So it is for 100 years, isn't it? Was he born in 1956?
No, he was born in 1894, but he dropped his body in 1969.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
100 years from 1969, we're in the manifestation. And he says he should return in 700 more years.
That's
700
amazing.
more years.
Amazing.
But this is what, occasionally I'll have discussions with people like, well, I'm on my path, I do this, and why can't I just keep doing Buddha or, you know, Krishna, or I go, or be a Christian? I go, that's fine. Continue doing it. Love, all love gets to God regardless what label you put on it. Jesus, and this is what Mayor Baba is the common thread. He says, he said, he, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, etc., all have had the same message for years. Now, you and I both can agree that there's obviously been some kind of interesting interpretations of Muhammad's Quran. And I won't get into that much because I don't claim to be an expert there, but I know that some of the practices and things that are going on, such as the treatment of women, etc., there is no way in the world that the avatar, because I know that Muhammad was Mayor Baba. He reminds you of that all the time. He was Muhammad. He was Jesus. The beautiful thing about Baba is a lot of times when he's traveling, we'd be traveling around the world, he'd stop and he'd point to a place and he'd say, this is where Jesus did so-and-so, or, you know, what have you. So you can tell I'm excited. I love Baba. I love Baba with the bottom of my heart, but I don't love him enough. If I loved him enough, then I would just immediately just no longer be human. I would get out of this dream. Because Baba calls this his divine dream. This is his divine dream. And you know, something that I've had an epiphany lately, because the more, I can't believe that something so simple I haven't done enough of or realized the importance of. You know, Baba's favorite statement is, don't worry, be happy. And he's constantly saying, it makes you feel so good. He's like, look, I will help you. I will help you. The only thing I want you to do is remember my name. Chant my name.
It's like a mantra, isn't it? It's
a mantra.
A word is
saying,
logos.
If you chant my name, this is my interpretation of it, but he's saying, I can help you more if you chant my name. And also, what I'm starting to realize is how crazy our minds are, the ego and the mind. And we will not have the birth of the real self. There's only one real birth and one real death. You're shaking your head. You probably read that, God Speaks or whatever. The real death is the death of the ego mind.
Absolutely.
And the real birth is the awakening to what you've always been all along.
Absolutely.
That's just nothing more beautiful. But what I've been realizing lately is that the number of times that I'll go through the day and the mind is that drunken monkey, the Hindus call it. And my mind is just going everywhere. And maybe that's why I love music so much, because my mind, I go to a better state than the typical drunken monkey state. You know what I mean?
This is the mind state, isn't it? And even Buddhists obviously talk about it in Hinduism. The mind is like a monkey jumping from tree to tree, in constant chatter, right? This constant rising and falling of the thoughts, and it never stops. So basically reaching stillness is reaching this, first we get to the stillness of the mind, and then we transcend further into no mind, basically, right?
Right, the mind of the no mind.
To get to a no mind state, we need to remove the impressions, which Meher Baba speaks as well. In the Hinduism, they called as well, in Sanskrit, they're called samskaras. I know, Meher Baba talks about them, refers to them as to sanskaras with an N, I think.
Sanskaras, yeah.
Right. Yeah. In Sanskrit, it's with an M, samskaras. And and he refers to them as the impressions being these, it's a consequence of the action. So the more action you do within this life, you write, like, it's just to talk for everyone, right? You're writing, this is a written information of the actions that you had throughout your life, right? And so
it's like you're putting data on a hard drive.
Exactly.
You'd rather that hard drive be clean and pure.
Yes,
but
yes, it's karma.
Every thought, it's karma. Every thought, every action, and the mind is such a drunken monkey that I'm sure you have this experience. When I'm sitting there, so-called meditating, I don't even know if I like to use that word, but I'm praying. I call it convening with Baba, going to the silence. My mind is sitting there just going, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, later today I'll play this scale and that scale and whatever. Baba says, don't worry about that. He said, your mind is going to do that when you're meditating. He said, just keep chanting my name. I will help you. So it made me realize it's okay. I'm not just some idiot that has that problem when I'm meditating, because I think some people think they just zone out and I don't know. But
well, many people think they're meditating, and I like what you actually said, because many people think they're in deep meditation just because they close their eyes and they are in a meditative posture, but it takes years and years and years to actually get to a meditative state. To be in meditation is to have that gap between two thoughts, right? It is to have that stillness between two thoughts. Within a couple of hours of meditation, you might be reaching a couple of minutes per total, if you're lucky.
I love the way you said that.
Yes, and what it is, when you're saying about Baba, right? So people think that they are actually, by watching their thoughts, it's the Vipassana meditation that everyone talks about. By watching your thoughts is not actually meditation, right? It's observation, and that means introspection, watching your thoughts, and Buddhists call it Vipassana, right? But that is not the proper meditation. That is that is a form of concentration. So by chanting, for example, Baba's name, it's a form of concentration, a form of focusing the mind in such a way not to follow the thoughts, if that makes sense to you,
No, it does.
It's like you would chant Om, or you would concentrate on a lotus, or you would chant, some people chant Hare Krishna, I don't know. It's just to focus the mind in one point, and that is concentration. So people actually have to do this for a very long time, whether they chant Meher Baba's name, or chant Om, or just visualize an Om. Is about focusing your mind into one point, focusing that energy within a point, and slowly start to ignore the thoughts after you pass the stage of watching them and observing them.
I've had that happen. I've had glimpses of that in music performances before.
Wow.
Where it's kind of like riding a wave, and you're just on the wave, and you can't even label it, you can't anything, you just ride it. And it's like that state of the mind of the no mind. It's like just kind of getting a glimpse of the silence, but yet you're getting a glimpse of that feeling of the silence through music. But you're an old soul. That's very obvious. You're an old soul. Back to your point, Mayor Baba says that when you're meditating like that, the business of the struggle that we're going on with the mind chirping while you're trying to think of God, or Hare Krishna or Mayor Baba or whatever. He said, if you chant my name, he said, it's like a mosquito net that's over you.
Right.
And all those things that are trying to get in there and distract you, it's helping to protect you from those things, and to keep you continuing to get better and better and better at it. Now, have you read, and this is, it's not mysterious to me. I think it almost brings me to tears when I think about it. You know what Baba says to his lovers about remembering his name, constantly chanting his name, right? Do you know why he says that is so important?
Tell us.
Well, one, I feel like, and this could have been something I've read. I've been a Baba lover so many years, or I might have heard. This could be anecdotal, but I feel it intuitively. I feel like if we're chanting Baba's name, that it continues him to help us unwind karma. Because when you're serving, and I think many of the classic spiritual works actually will say that, is that when you're serving a perfect master, one who's realized that they're helping you to stop the winding of karma and to start unwinding it. So I think that's one thing. But the most beautiful thing that Mayor Baba tells his followers is that you need to continue chanting my name, because to any man or woman in their last breath that has my name on their lips, they come to me.
Beautiful. Obviously, like I said, it is, for me, the word is an algorithm, is a very powerful algorithm, and just like you chant Christ, for example, right? Because Christ, it comes from Christos, which means the word of God, right? So it is a very, very powerful information within that name.
So isn't that interesting, though, that you read God Speaks, and you read it and you almost get a headache thinking about, wow, that's quite a journey, and how many millions of times we got to come, right?
Yes.
But Mayor Baba, you ever played Monopoly? You ever played Monopoly where you have the get out of jail free card, whatever they call that, Monopoly? I feel that Baba is telling us, because this happened many times when people would drop their body that were lovers of Mayor Baba. And often these were people within his circle or what have you, and Baba would say, don't mourn, don't cry, they're with me now. But he also says that in his discourses, he says, when we experience the dropping of our bodies, that actually we spend so much of our life fearing death, that he says, actually, as humans, you find out you're quite impressed with the event when it happens. And he actually correlates that between the way we go to sleep at night and dream, and then we wake up and we're still in the same body. And he said, in some ways, death is like, it has a slight correlation to, you would drop your body and the dream changes and you wake up and you're in another body. Now, that's my way of putting it.
Right, with birth, life, and then transition, death, and then coming back.
Right. But to me, Baba also says, and this is the point I was trying to make, that you must practice now chanting the name of God, Because if you want to have, and this is my terminology, that big spiritual boost, I mean, it could be like a home run, put it in baseball terminology. You need to start practicing chanting his name now, because Mayor Baba says it is difficult when you're taking your last breath. If we could remember our past lives, we could probably shake our head and go, yeah, it's true. But I believe what Baba's saying is correct. He said, you've got to practice chanting my name a lot now, so that if you say it, it's the last thing on your lips when you drop your body. Bingo, you just hit the jackpot.
Amazing.
But I just read this the other day too. Now the jackpot, does it mean God realization? He says it multiple times. So the implication is you get a get out of jail free card. I mean, you get quite a spiritual boost, if not realization. That's worth chanting his name. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Get out of this wheel of karmic wheel. You know, but he also says this. He says that he makes this promise to his lovers, because I love Mayor Baba so much that this bothered me in my early years. I was like, but I'm going to drop my body. I'm going to forget Mayor Baba, and I got to start all over again. Baba says, no, it does not work that way. He said, if you are with me and you've been a follower of me during this lifetime, when you drop your body, even if you didn't remember my name on your lips, your last breath, you will continue on the spiritual path, and you will be born to a spiritual family, and you'll continue right on. To me, those are really hopeful words, and really, I cherish those words. Baba promises that that's the case.
Amazing. So
yeah, and so that's
actually
another
a really good
reason,
advice, because I think after watching this, maybe many of us will want to start chanting his name, and obviously start feeling the after effects. Obviously there will be a change in their lives as well, isn't it?
It changed my life. I was a soul searcher, and I came up in the hippie era, and Timothy Leary and all that sort of stuff. And of course, Baba is absolutely anti-drugs. He calls those the false pearl. He does say that while drugs are not good at all, if they serve any good purpose at all, this is my terminology, not a quote, that for some people it opened up their consciousness and led them to me, meaning to him,
Mm-hmm.
or to searching for God. And I guess that happened to me. But I'll tell you, I was playing in a rock and roll band, and long story short, but playing a rock and roll band, and I was a searcher, and we would certainly do psychedelics, but we wouldn't go out and party on the town. It was a different generation then. We'd sit there and light a candle and read the Book of the Dead. I mean, we were really trying to transcend, so to speak, in more ways than one. Maybe I transcended too much, but anyway, I had a rock and roll band, and we all had a home and lived together, and were practicing in Florida. And I was searching, and I was reading books, Khalil Gibran, Paramahansa Yogananda, Herman Hesse. I mean, I was reading anything I could get my hands on, trying to be a more spiritual person. It's just that I had that stupid drug thing, with psychedelics. And luckily, God blessed me and got me out of that. And maybe that's why I'm such a health nut now, an absolute incredible health nut. And it made me a better man, a better person. But I don't wish that anyone have to do that path, but it was the path for me. So how can I regret it? Anyway, one day we had some friends visiting us from another city. It was Atlanta or something. It's a couple. And somebody said to me, one of our band members said, they're really into yoga, and they're into this guru. And I walked out of my room one morning, and on the door for their room, there was a poster, a flyer. And I saw this beautiful face of an elderly man with a smile on his face. And my life has not been the same since. And it said, don't worry, be happy, with a beautiful smile. And I said, first, I felt like it was somewhere between I was looking at myself. I felt like I was looking at myself, or it was like I was looking at my grandmother, even though it was a male. who loved me so much. I felt just such love. But my first feeling was, oh, I recognize him. I'm looking at myself.
Okay,
It was amazing. And it was Baba's smiling face saying, don't worry, be happy. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty nice saying, you know. By the way, that's where the hit song came from. You know, the Jamaican song. It came from Baba's statement. But anyway, you know, then not long after that, I kind of had the Jesus experience. But those people left, and that was planted deep in my intuition. And so about 6 months later, I had a Jesus experience, and it was a beautiful experience. And actually went talked to youth at different churches and organizations for a while about the not using drugs, et cetera, et cetera. And then probably about within 6 months of that, my life was going great. I was totally off of any drugs, and I was all about God and Jesus Christ, et cetera. And one day I walked into the university town of Gainesville, Florida. I'm from a small town north of there. And I walked into this hip place called Mother Earth. And there's that face again. And there were some pamphlets. And then there was a pamphlet, they were free. There was a pamphlet there of Baba's universal message. I grabbed those pamphlets, and something inside of me just got so excited. And I went home. I was living at home at the time. I went to my room, and I've always been a procrastinator. This is definitely before email. And so I read the universal message, and on the last page of Baba's message to all of mankind, you've probably read it, but you should look it up. It said, for further information, contact Kitty Davy, a British lady, by the way, Kitty Davy, at the Mayher Spiritual Center. Now, I've always been one to procrastinate, but my heart was so moved, I sat down right then and there and wrote a letter to Kitty Davy. And I said, I don't know who this man is, but I know I would love to love him as much as he wants to be loved, as he needs to be loved. Apparently, she was moved by that letter. That's the Mayher Center. The Mayor Baba's home in the West is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I would highly recommend going if you can go sometime.
Carolina, sorry?
500 acres of land on the beach, virgin land, most peaceful, beautiful setting you've ever seen on two freshwater lakes. And Baba called it, he said, I'll always be here. This is my home of the West. He was so pleased with that center. And then, of course, there's a center in India. So I wrote her the letter, and I was told that Kitty was one of Baba's disciples, and she helped to run the Mayher Center. Now, she was with Baba in India for well over 20, maybe 30 years, traveling the world.
Yeah.
Baba traveled the world. I didn't realize how much he traveled till I started reading her book, Love Alone Prevails.
Okay.
Incredible. You got to read her book. It's all heart.
Yes,
anyway,
I'm going to do that. Is she in
please.
the UK? Is she in the UK, or in which country she lives at the moment?
She passed away she lived to be about 96. She's been gone for about 15 years. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kitty answered that letter, and I still have her response to that. It's in my God Speaks book. I take that back. It's in Kitty's book. It's in Kitty's book. The letter, the response that she wrote me. And I later found out that the center was so busy then, during that period of time, that normally she had other people answer letters, but she was so moved by that letter that apparently she sat down and answered it herself. And she put me in contact with some Baba lovers in Miami, Florida. Next thing you know, they were sending me pamphlets and little books on Baba. And I just knew that I loved Baba. And Kitty said to me, she said, you need to get to the Mayher Spiritual Center as soon as you can. So when I went to the Mayher Spiritual Center and met Kitty, words cannot describe the sparkle of love in that woman's eyes. Words can't describe it. You can talk to anyone that's ever met her. And in many ways, she was kind of like my Mayor Baba mentor. but she probably was to thousands and thousands and thousands of others. But for me, that's the way I felt about Kitty, because she gave me advice many times on things in life. And she bubbled. Her cup ran over all the time with love, with Baba's love. And and anyone who would go to the center, the first thing you did was set up an appointment. You go to have a meeting with her. And when you meet the woman, you go, she obviously has been touched by God Almighty. That's all you could say. And every mandali that I've met of Baba's has been that way. And one day I'll be glad to tell you about my India experience, which was kind of unique too, as far as meeting Baba's, one of his mandali. But Kitty, she was very special. She and I had a connection. She was a piano teacher. She was musically trained, classical pianist and piano teacher. And so we connected there. And, after I moved to Nashville and got my degrees in college, one time I went to the center and I met with Kitty one morning, first morning I was there, and she was so happy to hear what I had just achieved with my music degree and performing and all that sort of stuff. She said, I want you to come tomorrow afternoon and play for me. And I brought my guitar the next day and sat on her lanai, and it was just the two of us. And I played for solo classical guitar for probably 25 minutes. And it was one of the most heartwarming, beautiful feelings I've ever had performing for someone. But we know that she was doing that for me. She was doing that for me. And as soon as she heard me play, she said, oh, you must play tomorrow at the library at 1 o'clock. Occasionally they had people play at the library. And so sure enough, I wasn't going to say no. And the next day I showed up at the library. Now you got to realize she's a busy woman. And I looked in the back and walked Kitty, and there she was again. Anyway, Kitty was great. She was one of Baba's disciples. And you've got to read the book, Love Alone Prevails. There are things in there that, this is my second time reading that book. But some of the books that I got early on, I happen to have them here in case you were interested or anyone. That I read early on. And there are many books now that are written by people that are in Baba's circle or the disciples themselves. One of the greatest set of books that are out right now is the Lord Maher series by Bal Kachuri. And there's a beautiful story behind that. Baba told Bal that Bal was a highly educated man. He was his night watchman. And he told Bal that he was going to be his writer in the last several years of Baba's life. And he said, you're going to write an anthology of my life. I don't think I said that right, but you're going to write a book, a series on my life. And Bal said, but Baba, I'm not a writer. Please don't ask me to do this. The disciples don't turn down, the avatar. Please don't ask me. You're going to do it. Don't worry. I will help you. These books are incredible. I have not read all of them. I've read parts, but he basically covers all of them.
So what books do you recommend for us to
Now, here's the books
let's have a look.
One of the first ones that I read on Baba, which I love, and these are all Baba's words, is my point. I've read it so many times the cover's not there anymore. It's called Meher Baba on Love. It is just an incredibly inspiring book, and it's short, it's easy to read, but it's all Baba's words. Here's another great one, The Everything and the Nothing.
Beautiful.
The Everything and the Nothing. And this one is deep and very beautiful. I like this one too. Beams from Meher Baba on the Spiritual Panorama.
Oh, look at that cover, the rainbow. I love that.
Yeah. This
Very
one,
nice.
And these books have truths in them that are like the Bible. I mean, you don't read once and go, well, I've read that novel, I don't need to read it again. I'll wait till the movie come out. No, you read these all the time. And here's another one. I love this. This is Baba at the Ocean. You can see it.
Ah, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. In his early years, he even looked like what people thought Christ looked like. Sparks of the Truth.
Beautiful.
And then the one that you know about that I had for years before I finally finished reading, Godspeed. Now, let me I'm kind of darting around here with my conversation, but
no,
going back to how I got we use the word zapped or taken by Baba. and I'm glad to be his prisoner. He can keep me forever. But what happened to me was, and this happens to a lot of Baba lovers. First, Baba captured my heart, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I just know I love him. I recognize myself, the real self, in him. And then he grabbed my heart first. And then I got these 3 books, the discourses, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now you can get them all in one book.
Yeah.
These are all Baba's words. Now, if you not, I would recommend you get the discourse. In the discourses,
yeah.
In the discourses, Baba explains everything.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. Okay. This will tell you a lot. Let me find it. Mine volume 2, Norman volume 1. Okay. Okay. Table of contents. Volume 1, the 7 realities of Meher Baba's teaching. The new humanity. Selfishness. God and the individual. The beginning and the end of creation. The formation and function of sanskaras. The removal of sanskaras, part 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Good and evil. Violence and non-violence. Action and inaction. Perfection. The life of the spirit. Selfless service. The avenues to understanding. The problem of sex. The sanctification of married life. Love. The infinity of the truth. Volume 2, the search for God, the stages of the path, arriving at self-knowledge, God realization, true discipleship, the ways of the master, the nature of the ego and its termination, the ego as the center of conflict, the ego as an affirmation of separateness, forms of the ego and their dissolution, the place of occultism in spiritual life, the value of occult experiences, and might I say, the non-value. The occult, Baba tells his followers to totally stay away from anything occult, anything, Ouija boards, any of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, you mean that kind of, yeah, because occult itself is not really, it's not bad if you're talking about gnosis, knowledge, but people confuse gnosis with the occult, which is the other side of the coin, right? It's the dark side of the occult.
It's kind of the dark side, and it's still illusion. It's just the dark part. It's the dark corner of the dream. Yes. So he warns his lovers to stay away from anything cult, to stay away from anybody who claims that they communicate with the dead or whatever. You know, you just stay away from that kind of stuff. Because my mother used to say, you sleep with dogs, you get fleas.
Yes.
You ever heard that one? Okay. Well, you get the karma.
Yes,
Did you know
absolutely.
Did you know I read something?
Basically resonate with whatever field you get into. You resonate with that thing, you become that thing, and you attract things like that towards you. So
right. And speaking of what we just discussed, the types of meditation.
Yeah.
Assimilation of divine truths, specialized meditation, the ascent to samadhi, the dynamics of spiritual advancement. This is volume 3, the avatar. These are all chapters.
Yep.
The travail of the new world order, the man God part 2, the man God part 3, the circle, reincarnation and karma. Oh, I love this section. You'll really like it. Under reincarnation and karma, there are 7 parts: the significance of death, hell and heaven, the existence and memory of past lives, specific conditions of incarnation, the need for male and female incarnations, the operation of karma through successive lives, the destiny of the reincarnating individual. We must live for God and die for God. Work for spiritual freedom of humanity. The tasks for spiritual workers. Qualifications of the aspirant. Entering into the realities of inner life. Some divine qualities. Readiness to serve, faith. Maya. Chapter 10. False values, false beliefs, transcending the falsehoods of Maya. God in Maya, the conditions of happiness, removal of suffering through detachment, contentment, love, and God realization. God as infinite love. 12 ways of realizing me.
Amazing. Well, this sounds like a Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, and basically, like I said to you, I think a lot of spiritual traditions, especially Hinduism, have a common point. They talk somehow about the same thing, right?
And Meher Baba confirms this throughout his life. Meher Baba said, all the avatars have always come and said the same thing.
Exactly.
They're all saying the same thing.
Exactly.
It's just up to you. It's up to you to live those words. And, Meher Baba says that it's, think about it. The avatar is never accepted by the majority when they're on the earth and in their manifestation. They're never accepted by the majority. Look at Johann Sebastian Bach. I used to tell my students this all the time. He was known as a second-rate composer. His genius was not discovered till 100 years after his death.
Yeah,
now he's considered one of the greatest composers.
It's generally like that.
Yeah.
They get value after their death,
After their death. And every avatar, and Baba explains this, goes through a crucifixion. That's suffering that the avatar does. Now, people that listen to you might want to understand the difference in a perfect master, Sadhguru, and the avatar. Should I mention that?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the Sadhguru, perfect master, is God, is man or woman, of course, but that we use that term generically. Man becoming God. And that's by either the grace of another perfect master or their karma or whatever, spiritual path they were on. They finally awakened and they become perfect masters. As God Speaks tells you, didn't you think that was cool? There are 56 on the earth at all times. I mean, even the illusion is perfect, with God.
Well, it is said that we are our own master, but I disagree a little bit with that. We are our own master up to a certain point, because we do need that perfect master in order to, see the way, in order to see the path, because we're asleep. We don't know that. So we need that perfect master to activate that inner power, to activate the consciousness, to help us go through all these impressions, to help us through this karmic cycle. We can't do that alone. Maybe ancestral souls, like an avatar, for example, right? But they do come with a memory. They already know who they are. So they no longer need a perfect master. But the rest of the people do, actually.
Right. The avatar, or Christ, is not man becoming God, but God becoming man. And every 700 to 1400 years, the avatar manifests, the Christ manifests on this earth. Different places, different countries, different language, whatever, but every 700 to 1400 years. When the avatar comes into Maya, it's very treacherous, because, the way Baba explains it, it has to be carefully done, or Maya would just almost, these are my terms, okay? Maya would just almost explode, because it's that big a deal when God says, I'm going down and I'm going to be the star in the dream. I'm going to go down and help. What the difference in the perfect master, they all have the same bliss, the same knowledge, the same power, etc. But the difference in the role of the perfect master, the God, man becoming God, or God coming back as the Christ, is the Christ comes back to help, to give all of creation a huge spiritual boost. from the rock you see out there on your walks along a mountain stream, to the ant, to the tiger, to the gorilla, to the sinner, the saint, all of creation, a spiritual boost.
Absolutely.
Perfect masters do not do that. They deal with individual things at a time.
Yes.
If I can use that. The God man is here for a boost to all of creation.
It gives a reset, basically, a consciousness reset.
It's like a reboot. It's like a reboot to all of creation.
Yeah, like when Jesus, Yeshua, right, when Christ came, he basically cleared all the karma. It got to zero at that time.
Right.
He did.
And the reason why is Mayor Baba explains this, every avatar has a crucifixion. Now, I'm using the word symbolically, has to go through, that they take on the suffering of the entire, all of Maya, all creation. They take on the suffering.
Yes.
Jesus did it on the cross. And sometime if you'd like to talk about the resurrection and what happened there, et cetera, you and I should have that conversation.
We'll do that, yes, definitely.
It does burst some people's bubble that are into doctrine and dogma and whatever. And
yes.
It exposes the oversimplification of what the priest and the Catholic Church and whatever did with Jesus's words. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, the Baba says that each avatar has their own crucifixions where they're taking on the same amount of suffering. It has to be done, like you said, to clear the plate, so to speak. Baba's, and he forecasted these, were 2 automobile wrecks. He said, I must shed my blood in the USA, in America. And he also said that one day America would be a great spiritual country. It obviously is not now.
No.
But he said it will be. He said it will be. But he said, my blood must be shed in America. And that was an automobile accident. And he forecasted the second one too. And that one was in India. And he was injured fairly badly in both of them, but obviously survived. One was in 1952 and the other one's 56. But that is the distinction in the Christ. And then going back to our discussion of manifestation, that manifestation, that bouquet, that aura that they put on all of creation, that is so powerful and so strong that it starts these religions, that all of a sudden they start kind of changing things a little bit, right? And getting caught up in their interpretations. The next thing you know, doctrine becomes dogma. And, it's like Mayor Baba said in the Universal Message. He said, enough wars. He said, I have come not to teach, but to awaken. Enough wars have been waged in the name of God.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to say more. So,
exactly.
But the aura of that Christ is there for 100 years from the time that Christ drops the body.
It stays here.
It stays here. And what that means to me, and hey, I'm tired of all those lifetimes. I want to get there, and I want a path that gives me security, that I can have faith in, and I can feel inside the hope that I can awaken from the false self to the real self. And I know that Meher Baba is the answer to that. And this is his manifestation. Is he more of an answer than Jesus Christ or Buddha or Krishna or Muhammad? That's for each person to decide for themselves. But I feel like there is a strong argument to be made if I'm a Virgo, so I analyze. If you analyze and go, no, wait a minute, if all of the juice is coming from the manifestation of the current avatar, then that's where I want to be. Do I love Jesus? Of course I love Jesus, because Jesus was Meher Baba. I love Muhammad too. It was Meher Baba. And every now and then I've had, and I try not to debate dogmatic Christians or people from other faiths. Usually in America, it would be a Christian usually.
You'll usually get into a debate if you try to do that. So
Yeah, and they'll go, well, how can you do that? You're betraying Jesus. You don't love Jesus. And I go, yeah, I do. Of course I love Jesus. I go, well, how can you say you love Jesus? Well, Mayor Baba was Jesus. They can't people that are at that point can't wrap their mind around it. And that's
because
okay.
the level of understanding, the level of perception is very, very low. You know, you can't change that. And it's just that this is what I'm hoping
You
as
can't.
well.
You can't do. You have to live it. You have to help
Exactly.
those people. So for many years, this is one of the most, I guess I'm on the internet somewhere. This is a coming out for me because, you know, I've been a Baba lover for many, many years, and I don't go around trying to sell Baba on anybody. I've gone to church. I've done other things. My former wife, she would say, she was a wonderful organist. She would say, would you go to church for the sake of her daughter? I said, yes, I will, as long as I don't feel like I'm a hypocrite. If I ever feel like I'm a hypocrite, I can't go. Mayor Baba says a hypocrite is the worst sin in the eyes of God. But he says, you know, it's not the truth that's behind these churches like the Christianity and, you know, whatever, you know, Islam, what have you. It's not the truth that was there from that particular avatar. It's what man has done to it, right? It's
Yes.
how they've twisted it and come up with these rituals and dogmas and things where they, you know, they make women not even show a piece of skin of their body when they walk out in public, stuff like that.
Yeah, the real sense, I'm totally with you. The real sense, it's absolutely lost. And the problem is that we are looking into the literal. We see everything from a literal point of view. That is the problem. The logic is the problem. We can't transcend this ego mind. So we are not able, we're not able to see behind the literal. We will always interpret whatever is dogmatic. And, you know, we're doing that for a very long time. That is why there's a lot of debate within the religious community.
Yes. And here's is something that I use with people when I do have not debates, but discussions. I'll go, look, Mayor Baba put it this way. God is infinite. The mind is finite. It is absolutely impossible for something that is finite to understand something that is infinite. It's just, and that's why debating so-called truths amongst us humans that aren't there yet and have not awakened to that self, it doesn't do anything. Baba says, you know, Frank Zappa had an album years ago that a lot of times I relate that to spirituality. He was kind of out there if you ever heard of Frank Zappa. Very artsy guitar player, excellent guitar player, but his music was out there. He had an album, and here was the name of his album. I used to teach my music students this. Shut up and play your guitar. Think about that. Think about how deep that is, speaking of spirituality. So there's a voice in me that says, and this is why I don't go out talking about it a lot. It's been a blast talking to you about it. You know, I keep thinking of what Zappa said, shut up and play your guitar. Well, I relate that, the corollary to that with me in spiritualism is shut up and live it.
Sink within the technique, you know?
Yeah, I try to live it. And, you know, I just need more and more of Baba's help because, you know, I live it, you know, I'm trying to make myself a better person, but I feel like I need to do more to help other people. And, you know, hopefully I've done some of that through my teaching through the years and what have you, but my service is nothing like.
It's all about selfless service, isn't it? It's one of the most important things on our spiritual path. It is. Out.
It is. It's helping other people. It's helping other people.
Without being interested in the fruits of our action, obviously, isn't it?
Well, and exactly. That's another reason I was willing to do this for you. I was like, if it helps somebody, you know.
I'm sure it does help a lot of people, you know.
That's fine. And remember, I saw this again, and I was like, that's kind of what you're doing with Mirror today, where Baba said, do not make a show of your faith and belief. Start practicing whatever you truly feel to be true and justly to be just. That's kind of what I'm doing today with you, going, this is what I truly feel. And I think you can tell I'm enthusiastic about it, and Mayor Baba's stolen my heart. But also, I feel very much graced by the fact that he has allowed me to tie it into disciplines such as music and Taichi. And it's kind of like, you know, the old saying, seek and you shall find. It's like I'm seeking, and all of a sudden I see these common threads between these disciplines that are all like pointing to that stillness.
You
know,
found a common denominator, you know, between the practices that you actually.
Yes, I found a common denominator that's just amazing. It's like you're seeking that stillness in movement, that silence. And in that silence is that real self. I love the way you expressed that a while ago when you said that the gap.
Yes, but that's what it is the gap between two thoughts. That's samadhi. If you are able to reach at least a gap within the two thoughts from 1 hour meditation that you do, and I'm impersonating here, I'm not talking about yourself or myself, I'm just talking in general, that is samadhi, that is no mind, that is stillness, that is nothingness. And nothingness, people think that is nothing, but it's actually fullness, because movement comes from nothingness. Existence, manifest, comes from nothingness, comes from God's primordial state of non-manifest. It's hard to, it's hard to comprehend this, but with practice it comes. But I wanted to ask you, within your Tai Chi practice, right? How do you reach this stillness within your Tai Chi practice? I mean, you're practicing for over 42 years now, you said, right?
Yeah.
What is that moment of experiencing this stillness? How would you describe that?
It's like, at my level now, I still only feel glimpses of it.
Yeah.
I feel glimpses of it. And it's that same feeling, but in another way, when I described as a musician, that feeling of when you're in a zone and you're riding a musical wave, and it's like Joe Rea Phillips is not doing this, it is just happening. And it is happening without my ego involved, so to speak. And it's the same sort of feeling, but without music. It's music it's silence music, but it's that same riding a wave feeling when you sort of connect or feel a slight connection, because it's hard, it's difficult, but every bit of effort is worth it, because there are great rewards and great feelings along the path, even though I'm not going to sit here and say to somebody, oh yes, I'm in the Tao every time. If I do a 15-minute form, I'm in the Tao off it. Come on, you got to be honest. There are good days and there are bad days. Just like with musicians, they'll tell you, oh, today just wasn't happening, but I got to go out and do it again tomorrow.
But it's all about the mind, because that's the barrier. So when you have that bad day that you're mentioning, it's your mind is not there. It's monkey again.
There are times, sometimes I feel it. That's why I love doing my Tai Chi outdoors, because I feel a connection to nature. But sometimes when I'm doing my Tai Chi, if there's just a soft breeze, it helps to motivate that feeling of riding a wave. And all of a sudden, when you're moving, you're feeling like you're just one with that breeze.
You're in slow motion, right?
Yeah.
And you're blending with the chi. And this is what I want people to understand, because, doing Qigong and Tai Chi, which you do, and then Bagazang and everything, it's about working with the chi energy, right? Which in Hinduism, yoga, it's called the prana, right?
Prana,
Reiki, it's called the ki, the seed of light, and then it's called the inner light in Christianity. So they all talk about this force spirit, right? Dao, which flows through everything, right? Or Paramatman in Hinduism.
That's right.
And it's about cultivating this energy, right? So through the movements that you're doing, you're basically cultivating this energy, isn't it? You start
And
to feel the chi. The more exercise you
chi,
do, you actually start to feel it, to tap into that frequency.
because at a higher level of Tai Chi, the chi takes over.
Yes.
The chi is just doing it.
Amazing.
And that's what I meant a while ago when I said the corollary to music, like all of a sudden it's like Joe Rea's not playing it. It's just a wave and he's on the wave. Well, I do that corollary to Tai Chi. It's like at a certain point, all of a sudden, my body's not doing it. My muscles are not directing it. The chi is directing everything. And that chi, is it can preserve. It has two characteristics: preservation and destruction. And the preservation part, of course, is more important to me right now. But yes, there are moments like we talked about the yin becoming yang, et cetera, where you could for the self-defense part of Tai Chi, and that's a whole other discussion. But the average Tai Chi person worldwide, and I'm probably offending a lot of people, but it's okay, I'm saying the truth. They don't understand the art as a fighting art. It is a martial art. But what's happened is it has so many incredible health benefits, and it has so many wonderful, beautiful corollaries to spiritualism and the Tao and that sort of thing, that's okay. You don't have to train in it to go, yeah, I've learned how to be a better fighter with Tai Chi. Now, for me, because I've studied other styles of Kung Fu for years, and I've done a little bit of all of that, yeah, it's made me better because I understand I can take the principles of self-defense that Tai Chi develops, and they're part of me now. They're part of because one of the things, as my teacher has taught me, Tai Chi develops what's called the Tai Chi body. And the Tai Chi body, and this probably doesn't sound like spiritualism, but it's kind of tied in. The Tai Chi body is the lower half heavy,
right,
upper half light, flexible, like a willow tree, but
because you have the base within your feet. Like it's the same thing as in building the root, building the base.
It's called root, and the Chinese term that's used a lot with Tai Chi is fan song. That's
it's ting and song. Ting and song.
Think and relax. Yeah,
right.
fan song.
Yes.
And yet you feel like you're being lifted up from the Bai Wei, and I always say to my students, just like you're that in biology or anatomy class, that skeleton that's in the closet there, it's like you're taking it and you're pulling it like this because you're opening up the vertebra,
for people
the chakra.
The people that don't understand what Bai Hui is actually a chakra, and through this point, the soul basically comes in through the conception vessel, which is the
that's right,
central axis. So the way you can find it is very good, actually, because we use it in acupuncture as well. You put your finger here between your eyebrows, and wherever your middle finger stops, it's just right there, soft spot. It's very, very good to rub a couple of times a day before your meditation or before your practice. It's a very, very good spot to work with, to be honest. But it's amazing what you said, that you feel pulled from this point.
The two other very, very important acupuncture points for Tai Chi. One, of course, is the Dantian, and that's where you store your chi.
Yes.
And the Dantian, of course, is 3 fingers below the navel and about 1.5 inches inside. And when we do Tai Chi, nothing moves without the Dantian moving first.
Yes, yes.
You can always tell a beginner in Tai Chi because you'll see their hand doing this kind of stuff instead of coming from here. The other very important acupuncture point is the bubbling well, Yung Chuan, and that's the kidney point, the bottom
kidney
of the foot.
One, which is
it's about here on the bottom of the foot. Yeah.
The foot, yes. That's the earthly chi comes in through, and you start to store this energy within your dantian, right? Within your it's a center. Correct. It's a center. It's a storehouse of chi.
And one of the reasons why they say health-wise, that we were talking about heavy on the bottom and light on the top, balance, etc. And one other comment about self-defense. The idea with Tai Chi is if you had to use it, you know, in self-defense, I'm going to keep my balance while I uproot yours. It's as simple as that. I'm going to keep mine. Yours are going to be uprooted when you touch me. You're going to find out that I'm very heavy down here and balanced. But anyway, the Young Chuan, one of the reasons for the bubbling well, the theory of all that, the research about the wonderful health benefits of Tai Chi is, and the Chinese have said this for years, and now, you know, Mayo Clinic, Harvard, and all the great research institutions have really researched this a lot, and it's not a fallacy. We know that Tai Chi is good for your health. One of the reasons, and the Chinese have said this for years, and that is because the bubbling well is such an important acupuncture point, kidney meridian, that when you do Tai Chi, you step empty and you roll the foot from the heel to the ball.
Yep.
So when you're going forward, when you're going backwards, it's from the ball to the heel, of course. But the slow movement and the exact consistent pouring of the weight, gradual pouring of the weight from one leg to the other, that is massaging
Yes, this point.
acupuncture point, and that is one of the great health benefits that you're getting from
And
Tai Chi.
especially in the when you do Wuji, the standing meditation, you basically put your weight onto these 2 points, and then
that's right.
Over time, you know, they open up, and you do get the earthly chi going through your feet. Then it starts to store within the dantian. At least it's like this in Neigong, which I practiced, and it's storing, and then from there you cultivate this energy, which goes into the higher dantian, because they're 3 dantians, right? You've got the lower dantian, you've got the middle dantian, and you have the higher dantian. So you've got the Jing, Qi, and the Shen, the 3 stages through which we you know, go through, basically.
Correct. Excellent.
Going from the physical to Qi, which is the energy body. And once we get the vibratory field within the energy body, then we transform into what? Into consciousness. We tap into consciousness. So we get again to the same point.
So here it all ties together, right? It's
again,
all
about the same thing. So
the idea of the posture, there's so much we can talk about, but the idea of the posture, for example, your tongue has to be up on the upper palate. If not, you probably know this and have taught this, and everybody.
I think it would be amazing if you would start teaching, you know.
Well,
it'd be
maybe
good.
we can find a way someday.
We can maybe do a program one day on Zoom or something like that, and we can.
Yeah, we could. I would do that for you, Mira.
We can learn Wuji, you know. We can learn how to store a little bit more energy. We can do some breath work as well, you know, because through breath work, we do the same thing. Through breath work, we store energy within the lower dantian, because we do abdominal breath. This is the yogic breath as well, Daoist breath, abdominal breath, that it's enough as well to store chi there, isn't it?
Yeah, I do Taoist breathing, and I've seen other Tai Chi teachers that have kind of fussed at me and said, "How you do that? We do abdominal." I go, I switched because I was told by Grandmaster Chen Jiao Wang and other masters of Tai Chi. I asked them the question, which breathing is preferred? First thing they say is natural. They say, breathe natural. And if you ever go to a Tai Chi teacher and they try to coordinate inhale, exhale, etc., leave. That's not the way to learn Tai Chi. You breathe naturally.
Yes.
Eventually, your breathing will coordinate in that manner, but you don't start off that way. That's all that does is create tension. But Grandmaster Chen Jiao Wang said this: ultimately, you want to do Taoist breathing or reverse breathing. And so I consciously started practicing that, doing stillness posture. And so I've, over time, without pushing it, without trying to force it, over time, I've switched my breathing where I do Taoist breathing. But what I was mentioning about the tongue on the roof of the mouth, when you're in the proper posture, which that's about a 3-hour discussion, but when you're in the proper posture, your alignment is correct. People that do yoga know that, and
Yeah.
Taichi people.
The most important thing is
most important
alignment.
thing is posture. It's posture. It's posture,
Yes.
posture. You got to have it right. And that's why you don't have too many moves at first. You got to get your posture right. You got to get it here, then you got to be able to move and keep it. But another reason that Tai Chi is so good for health is because in Western medicine, because people look at more external methods of workouts, people have chi blocked up in their upper torso.
Yes.
And then as they get older, disease happens, and their legs are weak and frail, and they start losing their balance, and bad things happen, and next thing you know, they die. And this all starts with chi blockages in the torso.
I agree.
And being in the proper posture and with the tongue on the upper palate is connecting the conception and governing vessel.
Yes.
And that is getting us back to, over a period of time, your chi flow is doing the grand heavenly circle.
Yeah, the microcosmic orbit. We should teach that maybe one day. Make a workshop to teach people microcosmic orbit and the abdominal breath. Because the reverse breath, I think, is a little bit more difficult for the beginners. You need to.
Yes, it is. I don't. When I was teaching that, I don't even talk that much about breathing. I just tell my students to breathe naturally. Only at a more advanced level do I discuss that sort of stuff usually.
Yeah, because when we come into this world, our natural breath, right, which is the organical breath, is belly breath. We breathe in the hara, which the Zen Buddhism talks about, the hara, that point below the navel, two or three finger breaths below. And we forgot how to do that. We live in a very hectic rhythm right nowadays, and we shallow breathing. We breathe in this area, right, because it's a lot of stress, and we live under stress, under pressure. And that's why, like you said earlier, there's a lot of chi which is stagnating within this area.
Good term.
Area. And so people need to understand that even in yoga, through pranayama, I mean, we're trying to promote the importance of breath, because this chi that we're talking about, right, the chi, the prana, it's linked to breath. It is linked to our nostrils. It is linked to breath. So that way we can, clean the energy channels. And we can remove all the blockages that we have within the meridians and everything, and it can help, and it can lengthen your life as well. Not only that,
after all,
you store more chi within your body, which you need. That is your fuel. If you don't have that, the day that fuel is gone, you're gone.
And after all, Jesus said, your body is the temple of God.
Absolutely.
And people will ask me sometimes, are you trying to get your spirituality from your Tai Chi and whatever? And I go, no, not necessarily, but you can't separate them. It's not a religion. It's not, a cult. You can't separate them. If we are doing the things we've discussed here for a while now, just by nature, you are going to awaken somewhat.
Yeah.
How much, if you have the wonderful grace of the Christ of the age, wow. I mean, and that's the way I look at my training. I go, look, Baba, I'm doing my part. I'm not trying to say I'm going to go and all of a sudden go up to the fifth plane. I'm just doing my part to keep my body in great shape, to keep the chi flowing, to get better and better with this, and to silence that stupid drunken monkey up there. And I know you'll help me. And, but we go, what you were just saying, I totally applaud. Bravo. It's like your body is the temple of God. So
absolutely.
Why wouldn't we do that?
But it's not only in the Chinese philosophy or Indian philosophy, like Daoism and yoga and all that. It's not, and Zen Buddhism, and these are not the only traditions that actually have some kind of practices, right, to link the body to the spirit through breath. We also have in Christian Orthodox tradition, right, ancient breathing techniques, which a lot of monastic you know, I don't know if I should call them monks or priests or something. They actually do practice this kind of breath, and it's something like, it's like a reverse breath, right? But it's in a, you know, the infinite symbol. It is something like that.
Yeah.
And also there are a lot of prayers, for example, the prayer of the heart, which is the Christ prayer, right? Where you lower the mind into the heart again, you know, Daoism. We reach Daoism here, but it's actually a monastic practice within Orthodox Christianity. They whilst they say some mantras, right? Not in Hindu, obviously, but, you know, in your own language, right? They have to do it on a certain breath, you know, pattern. They have to do that like that. So again, a lot of things are linked to breath, but you know, people think that only in the Eastern philosophies you will actually find practices that are related to breath, but it's not only. It's not.
You're correct, and it brings up another interesting topic, and that is that, you know, religion oftentimes is, instead of the sugar high you get from sugar, from consuming sugar, honey, whatever, religion has lost the sugar high because it's become the baked cake. It's the baked cake. And a lot of that is because it was more convenient and they could get more donations, et cetera. And I'm not saying there's bad people in religion, but
more control, obviously, more control.
Control. What do you think happened in the Council of Trent, 16th century? Do we all know about that? That's where reincarnation was taken out of the Bible. It was in the Bible. Jesus discussed it. Council of Trent. Look it up. And so, you know, a lot of that.
Talk about this one day, you know, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And it's just, I think that what happened, and this, I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I always feel like the whole, and I was raised a Christian, but they sort of ran me off when I got told every week I was going to hell. I got some good news for you. Hell doesn't exist. Hell, read it, what Mayor Baba says, and it'll make you feel a little bit better about it. We've probably all experienced it multiple times. It's a mental state that happens in between incarnations. And here's what Mayor Baba says. Here's what he says in the discourse. If you've basically been a good person into the finer things in life, and you've not been some, you know, criminal or whatever, you know, bad person your whole life, when you drop your body and you go into the subtle world for a while before you reincarnate, you're going to experience one of two things, heaven or hell. But then Baba explains again, even then, it's not real. They're mental states. They're mental states. And that's where some of the karma gets almost to the point of balance, and then all of a sudden you reincarnate again. I'm sorry.
I was trying to find what you just said. I was trying to find it. Just bear with me for 1 second. Where is it?
Did you find that interesting? Because you and I had not talked about it.
Absolutely. I think it says here, the states of heaven and hell. The states of heaven and hell are nothing but states of intensive experiences of the consciousness of the soul, experiencing either of the predominant counterparts of the opposite impressions, samskaras, while the soul is dissociated from the gross human body or form. The soul itself does not go to heaven or hell, as it is general belief, because it is eternally infinite and eternally in the oversoul, you know, the super soul.
Right.
The self.
Not really the oversoul is not really affected. And yeah, thank you. That's wonderful. You went to God speak. See, mine was coming from years ago reading this, where Baba explains heaven and hell, and he just says they're really. I think he even uses the word mental states, or you know, they're not real.
There is obviously a universal mind, just so you know, we get to an understanding. There is a universal mind, which is not finite, which is infinite. But the individual mind is the problem. So the problem is the individual mind.
Individual mind, correct.
Not the original mind. The individual mind is limited because we are living in we have a limited condition.
But this was what I meant by my comment, and I'm not here just to beat up on religion, but religion, what they did in the Christian church is they oversimplified it, because it made it a lot easier for them to say, hey, look, you behave, you be good, donate to the church, you know, let's keep everything going here. And if you're good, you're going to heaven. If you're bad, you're going to hell. Then you're going to wait in that casket or whatever for all those years, and Jesus is going to come out of the heavens, and then you're going to come out of that. Are you kidding me? How in the world are they selling that? I'm sorry. Baba says be honest, so I'm being honest. Like, I don't. But that's the dogma.
Well, that's to follow the flock, you know, and we are doing it.
Did you hear that as a kid? As a Christian, do you ever?
Yeah, because I have been brought up as an Christian Orthodox, so I've been baptized Christian Orthodox. So obviously, but I never agreed with it because I don't know, my level of understanding was a little bit more rebellious, so I never really abided by.
I'm with you, Mary. It bothered me as a little boy when I heard it. I was like, wait a minute, you're using the word hell, eternal hell for damnation, damnation and eternal hell. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a loving. That doesn't sound like a loving God to me.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you feel God, the moment you feel God, right? The moment you have your personal relationship with God is the moment you don't buy into the dogma anymore. With me, it came from a very young age. There were some experiences. It doesn't really matter, but the way I experienced God made me not abide and made me not, resonate at all with the indoctrination at all. Because I knew, somehow I knew, you experience, you have that experience. You have that
my intuition was telling me that also as a little boy. And it was like, my mother kept having to make me go to church. And I was like, I fought it. I just did not want to do it. And I tell you, you are an amazing person.
You too. Absolutely. I absolutely enjoy talking to you. For hours. You are an ocean. I think you're an ocean of knowledge, and you are absolutely an
you are too.
Person.
You are too, and I hope I have a friend for life, and that I hope that Mayor Baba means something to you now. If I brought that into your life, I'm thankful for that. But yet you've got a lot going, and I'm very impressed with you as a person, and your knowledge and the way you seek. Because that's something else the Bible did say is correct. Seek and you shall find, and you really get after it. So are we still being recorded or not?
It was recording. I just wanted to ask you one last thing, because I think we were on for about 2 hours now, and I'm also looking forward to, because we have a lot to talk about. Whenever you'll have time again, I would be happy to do this again. There's a lot to talk about, and we also don't want to confuse people.
I enjoyed it so much. I'll certainly do it again. I live alone. I don't know about you, but I live alone, so.
What I wanted to say, just bear with me because I've got a problem here on my other screen. What is your message for all of us? What is your message from your heart to our hearts? What would you say? How can we go through these dark nights of the soul? How can we, step onto our spiritual path? What are the first steps to do? And especially I'm talking here about practice, because practice is essential. You are practicing a couple of hours a day, martial arts, and all the other your personal practices, including your music and your martial arts, Taichi, Daoism, and everything. And so you are used to this routine. You are used to this discipline. Would you say discipline is the key within anyone's personal practice?
Well, I actually have said to some family members and some friends that thank you to Baba that through the pandemic here, you know, I bought a new home and I was by myself. And I don't know if you went through that in your lovely country, but I was by myself and I felt like that Baba used my discipline to keep me sane, so to speak, with the pandemic and being shut in and all that sort of stuff. And I've had people say this to me for years, and I finally have just openly stated it because I do realize it's a gift, and that is I have the gift of discipline, and I just cannot discipline, as I've told my students for years, it's like a muscle. You have to exercise that muscle.
Absolutely.
And and so maybe that's why it's at a point now where it's I've exercised it for years, and it's I can't live with myself if I'm not staying on my path. And as an individual, one has to decide if pursuing God is worth them, worth that individual exercising some discipline and getting on your knees and praying and saying, God, help me. You can give God, you know, you can call God Mr. Clean if you want. But Mayor Baba says this, God only hears the prayers and the messages of the heart.
Exactly.
You know, so get in tune with your heart. And if some kind of exercising of your own discipline, start with baby steps, but get in tune with your heart and realize that the most important thing we can do is love God. And there are many ways that can be expressed, our love for God.
Yes.
It can just be, you know, like I'll have a neighbor here sometimes. We take our trash out and all of a sudden I'll see my trash is brought up to next to my garage door. That's loving God, right? They did some little thing, wasn't even expected, but that's loving God. Our discussion tonight is loving God.
Absolutely.
Because I'm doing this from my heart. You're doing this from your heart.
It's unconditional.
And that's what we need to do, but just baby steps. And the other thing I would say is, you know, it does help to have a perfect master. Now, you know me, to me, that perfect master for me is Mayor Baba, but it does help to have a perfect master. And what helped me was, see, I fell in love with Mayor Baba, and so I immediately grabbed books and I started reading. And for someone else who's in some kind of pursuit to know themselves, Shakespeare said, you know thyself. You know, and I believe he was from your great country too. But anyway, you know, little by little, because for me, what happened on the spiritual path is I felt it in my heart, and I knew that there was something more than just this gross world. And remember, as kids, we sang the song, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And then what does it say then? Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And I knew there was something more than this dream. And so it certainly doesn't hurt to find a few great books and start reading a few books that will inspire you, whether it's Khalil Gibran, the prophet, or Herman Hesse, or something like that. Or if you want to do what my dear friend did, you can just jump right into the deep end and get God's speed.
Yes.
Now, as Mira will tell you, Mayor Baba doesn't pull any punches in this, does he? I mean, he says, you want it? I've laid it out for you. Here it is. And by the way,
an amazing book. I highly recommend it.
I'll play salesman for a moment, just having fun.
Yeah.
This is a true statement. Mayor Baba said, this is the modern Bible. This is if you want to read the Bible now of the avatar of the age, this is it. But yeah, baby steps. start off with something, start meditating
and do it
5 minutes
every
a
day, right? So whatever your practice,
got to do it every day.
got to do it every day. It doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, gradually increase it, but it's got to be, and we're looking at persistence and we're looking at consistency, right?
And you have to be stubborn about it. I mean, you put up with me because you were trying to schedule me, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I've got to do all this. But that's what you do when you're disciplined. You go, hey, I'm going to do this stuff first, then I'll give and give and give. But I can't cop out and not do that stuff.
Yes.
Now, an emergency in our lives, our families, of course we do. But I mean, in general, you've got to try to. People will ask me all the time, and a term I've used for years, Mira, is they'll go, what are you doing? I go, I'm just staying on my path. I just try to stay on the path. The path. What is your path? Maybe that's a first step that people that have this kind of interest in pursuit should think about. What is my path?
Because they lost their way. That this is the problem, and this is, I think, the starting point. They don't know who they are anymore. They're lost. They lost the way. They don't know what the path is. But the moment you get that glimpse, the moment you know what that path is, cultivate a moral conduct. Cultivate love, compassion, forgiveness of thyself and others, right? Find some guidance, like you said, the perfect master or whoever you resonate with, right? Well, obviously, don't jump into the new age, Pleiadians and all that kind of stuff.
That could cost you lifetimes. Yeah,
absolutely. You're wasting time and you're coming back, repeating the same thing over and over again. And my answer: meditation and prayer are very, very, very important, because these are actually gateways. They actually help you to realize who you really are.
I will assert, I agree with that, but then with the caveat that I have to assert that Mayor Baba said during his, you're smiling because you probably read this, during his manifestation, it's okay to still do those things, but he said the most important thing, chant his name. Chant his name. And so since I love Baba so much and I trust him so much, that's my mantra each day. That's my discipline that I'm trying to improve on. Chant Baba's name. You know what I do at night? Late at night, before I go to sleep at night, I will say 7 times, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, 7 times. When I wake up in the morning, I think Baba actually suggested this. I've been reading so many books lately, it's hard to remember, but I'll wake up in the morning, and every now and then, believe it or not, I'll forget. Can you believe that? I'll forget. I'll go, it'll be 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, and I'll go, wait a minute. As soon as I wake up, I need to go, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, Avatar Mayor Baba. And the cool thing about it is, Mira, I live alone. So there's nobody to fuss at me about going, what are you doing? I go, hey, this is my home. I do what I want here. I love that. I don't know if you have that.
Full freedom. Full freedom to manifest your own practice and your own lifestyle. And,
So if people walked into my home early in the morning, they heard Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, Avatar, they go, what's going on in there?
Well, you should hear me sometimes, the stuff that I say, when I chant Gayatri mantra and all that. And, if somebody
it's me waking up,
Exactly.
Isn't it great? It's great.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll be watching, even when I'm watching a sporting event or TV or something, I'll go, Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai, Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Mayor Baba, Mayor Baba.
So you actually gave us a mantra today, because even in yogic tradition, every disciple gets a mantra from his master. You get your own mantra, right?
Yeah.
People get their own mantra. You just gave us a mantra today. This is how I see it. And it's amazing. Who wants to cultivate this?
There you go.
Feel free to
try
do
it.
that.
Try it. I mean, what have you got to lose? I mean, Baba said, call me what you like. If you want to call me the devil, call me the devil. If you want to call me God, call me God. That doesn't change who I am. So what have you got to lose? Try saying Mayor Baba Ki Jai, Mayor Baba Ki Jai, or Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai. I love that one. I'm a musician. I like the rhythm of that. Avatar Mayor Baba Ki Jai. That means victory through Mayor Baba.
Amazing.
And you
Well,
and I should have another. We'll have
we-
another talk sometime, and I'll tell you about my trip to India. That was pretty
I
special.
am looking forward to some other chats because I think we're definitely on the same page, and I think
We definitely are.
we
And,
have a lot to discuss.
I was afraid a few times I messaged you, I made you mad, but I believe in you. So I was like, I'm gonna tell her this anyway.
It's just about being yourself, isn't it? I mean, I didn't really come prepared or anything here myself, but
I didn't either. You've been great. You've been great, because what I'm getting at is you've put up with me a few times messaging you and going, no, wait a minute, Mary, blah, blah, blah. You know? I appreciate that, and I hope you know that it always came from. It's always come from my heart, and you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll do it again. And,
that would be lovely. That would be amazing. And maybe
so
one time you can, perform some of your lovely guitar songs or something like that.
That's
I'd
also
like to
possible.
post it in the group as well.
That's also possible too. And hopefully we'll. I feel like you got to know more about me than you today, but hopefully we can switch that a little bit too.
Well, I think you pretty much know a lot about me yourself, and today it was more about knowing yourself. And I think from this discussion, I think people get a lot of understanding of what meditation is, how important is personal practice, how important is to have guidance in life, how important is to have a moral conduct, and how important love, kindness, and compassion is. I think we've gone through all these things. I think these are the ABCs basically, aren't they? And then we can go to higher subjects and everything like that. But somehow I was slightly prepared, because I knew that we will talk about Meher Baba, and I knew that we will talk a little bit about Daoism. And so, I want to have at least something there, that I could share through my screen. And,
well, you did a good job with that. I actually only prepared by getting out these books and just reading from Baba. And I've taught for so long, I thought hopefully that I could handle whatever you might ask me.
Well, you did it very well.
I've just done it so long, and I don't usually have trouble in situations. And I just I felt a connection with you, so I knew that it's going to be fine. And I hope anybody that watches this enjoys it also. It's been an absolute pleasure to do.
It's been an absolute pleasure for me too, and I thank you so much, Joe Rea, for this lovely chat. And
well, thank you. I just realized I mean, it's funny. You think Facebook and you go, there's Facebook friends, and then there's friends. And now I realize that you really are friends.
It's a connection, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful,
I know people talk a lot
connection
about social media, that there is no friendship, but we live in a technological era, and sometimes we connect with people for a reason, even if it's through internet. It is what it is. I mean, I don't have to travel to USA, and you don't have to travel. We can just connect, so I think nothing is without reason, put it that way.
I've had friends that have quit Facebook, for example, and I say, "Wow," they go, "Why haven't you?" And I say, "Well, I live alone, and there's people on there, and I don't get it. You notice I don't do politics. I try to do beautiful postings. I try to uplift people, and if I see a beautiful woman, I'm going to tell them they're beautiful. I'm that way, but I'm also a gentleman. So to me, it's like." I'm not obsessed with Facebook, but let's put it to you this way: living alone, it's probably part of my habits. I'll go, let me check Facebook now or whatever, and then I'll go on, but it never. I don't let it affect my discipline.
Exactly, that's the secret. Don't let it take over you.
Nope. I'll spend a few minutes on it in the morning, and sometimes I'll go enough, and I'll just close my iPad.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, and that reminds me, because I think I told you I wanted to have this chat with you because I'm going to go into a personal retreat. Sorry, excuse me, for a while, and that would be no internet, fasting, meditation, personal practice, and no internet. So I'm going to be completely disconnected for a bit. And
okay, well, good. I won't think you're mad at me then. So make sure you send me a message so I'll know before you go. Well, how long will you be gone?
I'm thinking 10 days or 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm thinking to do something like that. It will be a heavy one, but I need to catch up with a little bit of my own practice, because we give out a lot, and we also have to cultivate our
That's
inner
right.
energy,
You got to cultivate,
obviously,
or you don't
and
have anything to
preserve
give.
the energy and everything. So every once in a while I do this, and obviously I pray for everyone. I pray for the world, and
Will you travel to a retreat location or something?
no,
to do
I'm
it,
going to do it at home. I'm not going
at home.
anywhere.
Okay.
At home, yes.
Okay. You're just kind of doing a
In my
monastic
own
sort
space.
of thing.
This will be my cave.
By the way, when you read about reading Kitty's book again, made me realize Mayor Baba spent a lot of time in seclusion doing his work. A lot of time in seclusion. Yes. The more you read about it, and really just on a human level, it's fascinating. Yes. How many times he went in seclusion, fasted, this and that and the other.
Just like him, I don't even speak when I have a retreat. I don't speak. I don't speak words. There's no word coming out of my mouth. And well, I've had retreats where I've had longer retreats where I didn't speak at all. Then it was a little bit difficult for me to even, interact with someone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will say an extra prayer for you.
Thank you.
There may be another composition coming with you in mind. Well, I will let you go because I bet it's getting late your time.
It is 11:30, so I think we had about 2.5 hours chat, almost. But it was amazing, fun. And the thing with you is time flies, and I just feel like we know each other for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, we've known each other. We obviously have a karmic connection, and I'm honored for that. And so you keep me informed, and let me know. I don't know how you do this, but let me know what kind of feedback you get. And
this will be posted on the group, and
if you need to edit, I tried to be careful about knocking a certain religion and how they treat women, because I don't know what kind of people you have listening, and I don't want anybody to come looking for me.
To be honest, generally, I don't do this for a certain type of people. I always speak my truth, and whoever I speak with, they should speak their truth.
And I did speak the truth because I really feel like that, Muhammad, Mayor Baba was Muhammad. They've just taken and they've really messed up his, whatever he wrote, they messed it up. That's all I know.
Yes, we're not looking for any kind of validation here, and we also don't mind any kind of reaction, to be honest. Everyone is free to believe wherever they want to believe, but if they resonate with what we're saying, then it's fair enough, because this is what we want to attract. We want only something that resonates with us, so to be honest, I don't really mind what people think about what I generally say, as you know already, so or it doesn't really matter.
Well, it goes back to what I read a couple of times today. What did Baba say? Start practicing what you truly feel to be true.
Absolutely.
When I read that preparing for you, I was like, I'm starting to do that more and more. I mean, I can't believe I haven't done it enough my whole life. Start practicing what you truly feel to be true.
And practice what you preach as well.
Yes.
Very important in general.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that a cool book?
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Look on the back of it.
Yeah, that's the, it appears in most of his books.
Yeah, that's his kind of logo, so to speak. But the writing on the back of this came from India. It's not English.
All right.
I've had that book for years.
It looks like a very old book, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very important to me. Well, you take care. Much love to you.
You too, and thank you so much, Joe Rea, for being with me today, and thanks for all this knowledge that you shared and all the love that you shared, and this lovely talk from heart to heart. And I really appreciate that.
My heart to yours, and whomever wants to receive it. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon.
Much love to you.
You too.
Please take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.